All right, so thank you everyone for joining our session today. Machine Learning for JDE, the Citizen Data Scientist. So automated machine learning is changing the playing field for data professionals, and you don't need to have a PhD in data analytics or heavy programming skills in order to uncover advanced insights. And what I'll show you today is really the future of BI and analytic platforms that will enable this role of the citizen data scientist or the everyday analyst to be able to derive meaningful information from their data. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So a little bit about myself. I started my career analyzing financial investments, and after seeing how rapidly the data analytics field was evolving, I decided to really take the leap into analytics when I pursued my post-grad degree in information systems. And since then, I've been working with many of the industry standard data platforms and keeping a constant pulse on the evolution of these tools. So the agenda for today is to start out with a brief introduction to what data science and machine learning is, and then we'll look at how these fields are being applied in the business, and we'll also learn about how these technologies are being integrated into modern BI and analytic platforms to enable everyone to generate advanced analytics via automated machine learning. And then next we'll jump into a demo of these features over JD Edwards data using Microsoft's Power BI technology. And then lastly, we'll summarize with how Preferred Strategies can help you get started using these tools within your company. So let's go over a few definitions before we move on. Artificial intelligence or AI has become sort of a catch-all term that refers to scenarios where a machine or a computer system mimics the functions of human minds, such as learning and problem solving. And there's many different types of AI or artificial intelligence, and machine learning is simply just the type of AI that gives computers the ability to learn from data instead of being explicitly programmed to do so. And the general principle here is to apply a statistical algorithm to a large data set in order to uncover relationships between the different fields it contains and ultimately make predictions about what's going to happen. So an algorithm is really just a set of rules that are followed during problem-solving operations. All right, last one here, data science. So data science is an interdisciplinary field that uses scientific methods, processes, and algorithms to extract insights from data. And it really combines the fields of computer science and IT with math and statistics, as well as business domain knowledge from subject matter experts in order to enable data-driven decision making. And these data-driven decisions ultimately can lead to things like increased profitability and improved business performance and workflows. So as consumers, we're exposed to AI every day, from your Netflix recommendations to your Google Maps route. The intelligence behind these predictions is all powered by machine learning algorithms. And two of my favorite examples are Netflix and Amazon. So with Netflix, over 75% of the content that people watch is based on their recommendation algorithm, which uses machine learning models to rank and classify content based on what they think you're going to enjoy. And similar technology is used at Amazon and other online retailers to predict recommended items that are often sold together or related items that you might also be interested in. So as far as applying data science to your business, there are many applications that companies can benefit from, and I challenge you to start thinking about some ways that you could leverage data science within your organization throughout the webinar. One example that I like for JDE customers is around predictive maintenance for manufacturing operations. So we can actually build out machine learning models to predict when a piece of equipment is going to fail so that we can actually take action before it does. And furthermore, we can use prescriptive analytics to determine what part is going to fail, and then go ahead and submit a service ticket to our maintenance team so they can go out and fix it before this ever happens. So if data science is so great, why isn't everybody doing it? Well, there's a lot of barriers to entry or challenges facing enterprises attempting to adopt this technology. The first is really there's just too much data to analyze manually. So you have data from on-prem relational databases like JD Edwards, and then you have cloud data from IoT devices and social media and software as a service platforms. And the list really keeps growing every day. Next, there's really just a shortage of people that have the degrees in data science and the machine learning skills to model all of this data effectively. And then even if you're lucky enough to get this far, then you have to go and figure out how you're going to actually operationalize this within your business to produce real value. So despite these challenges, there is real value or benefits that can be added to the business by applying data science. And the goal in any organization is to move from a traditional descriptive analytics or what happened to more of predictive and prescriptive analytics, which tells us what will happen and what should we do about it when it does happen. And the problem with this picture is that when we go up in the value to the business or the y-axis, we can see that we're also increasing the difficulty involved in the analysis. However, with new technologies that are automating machine learning, analytical tools are enabling analysts without the programming skills or the degrees in data science to leverage advanced analytics. So Gartner defines a citizen data scientist as really just a person who generates or creates machine learning models that use advanced analytics to answer business questions, but whose primary job function is outside of statistics and analytics. I like to think of it kind of like WordPress for data analytics. So in the same way that WordPress allowed anyone to create websites within a few clicks without needing a degree in web development, citizen data scientists attempt to do the exact same thing for data analytics. So the goal here is to create a platform upon which anyone can extract insights from data using AI and machine learning technology that's already integrated and baked into the BI and analytical platforms such as PowerBI, which I'll be showing here in a minute. All right, so how did we get to this point? How did all this come about? Those of you that have been around a while in this field have probably seen some of these BI waves. And when we started out on this BI train, it was led by your data experts in IT that were in charge of everything from data management and data preparation to reporting and creating data visuals. So we had things like scorecards and KPIs and fancy dashboards. And the scene was really dominated by major vendors like your SAPs and your MicroStrategies. But the reality of this this phase was that the tools remain largely inaccessible to the broader enterprise, which meant if business users had a question, they had to wait a long time in order to get answers. So by the late 2000s, this all started to shift to more of a self-service BI approach, which enabled power users and data analysts to start connecting and preparing data, as well as doing the data discovery and visualization. But when governance started to factor into the equation, we quickly realized that the right checks and balances were not in place to manage this change in roles. And this really led to a lot of data silos or dirty data with like inconsistent calculations, and really just shadow IT systems that became really hard to manage. So now we're in this new wave of smart analytics, which is really IT enabled, and so IT's managing a lot of the single source of truth or the data models, but then business users are connecting and doing data discovery and creating their visualizations on top of that. So they're assisted by technologies such as natural language processing and smart visualizations, things like automated insights and other AI enabled capabilities. But this wave is not without its challenges either. Most of these challenges revolve around how can we trust the machine learning models. So how can I trust the underlying algorithms? How can I trust the calculations and the predictions given to me? All right, so in today's demo, we'll see how we can apply some of these new technologies connected to sample JD Edwards data. And we'll take on two personas. The first will be that of the VP of Sales for our fictitious consumer electronics organization. And we'll walk through the experience of consuming insights within Power BI. And in the second role, we'll switch to an analyst and see how augmented analytics can help create some compelling reports and dashboards. Hey, Cortana, show VP of Sales dashboard. Oh, I might have to do that one again. Oh, looks like. So we can use these digital assistants or these AI assistants like Cortana in order to start talking to our data. So the same way we would ask her what the weather is, we could also just start pulling up insights into our data. So I have my VP of Sales dashboard that's been pulled up here from my desktop using Cortana, and I could scroll through here and see retail sales seems to be doing okay compared to prior year, but it looks like my online sales are not doing as well. And then it looks like computing is only making up about 11% of my sales when in prior years it's been much higher. So now we can go and check out what's going on by opening this dashboard in the Power BI cloud service. So this is the software as a service component of the Power BI platform. And a dashboard, as you can see, is really just an at-a-glance view of your most important business metrics. So with the dashboard in Power BI, we can have these tiles coming from one or more reports. And if I want to maybe drill down into some more information to see what's going on, I just simply click on one of these tiles. Then it opens up the underlying report that supports it. So for this particular report, the sales overview report, we have some KPIs set up here, and then we have some information about our sales and our gross profit. And the great thing about Power BI is everything is completely interactive. So, if I click on the central region here, you can see all my visualizations will update to show me just information for the central region. If I want to maybe change it from looking at my measures from year to date to quarter to date, I can just simply click on this slicer and maybe change it to month to date and see what's going on there. So I can see Central is still having some issues. Maybe I want to drill down, so I can right click on this and choose to drill into this information and go to the next level, and that's been configured in my data hierarchy. So for this instance, now I can see that Jason Lee is having the biggest issues for my sales reps. And another great feature of Power BI is we can go from more aggregated views of the data and drill through to more detailed analysis. So I can go maybe drill through to my sales reps details tab, and then I can start to explore what's going on with just Jason Lee. And see how we can help him right the ship here. So we have these buttons here to help navigate, so it's really creating a better user experience at the report level. So I'm going to navigate back up to my dashboard here, and let's take a look at at some of the augmented analytic features that are being integrated at the dashboard layer of Power BI. So I mentioned computing sales seems to be a little bit low. If we come in here to ask a question about your data or the Q&A feature of Power BI, this is really powered by natural language query, natural language processing technologies, where I can simply just start typing in my question, and without having to know SQL or submit a ticket to IT in order to get an answer, I can just come in here and ask a question. So I could type in computing sales amount by product here. And all of just like that, I'm getting the data back for product performance within my computing division. And if I like this visual that I create in this Q&A experience, then I can just pin it to my dashboard as well. So I can go check that out by hitting go to dashboard, and now we'll see that visualization for further use. And I don't have to know much about creating dashboard. I can come in here and edit details and maybe type in for computing and then apply that. So now I know exactly what I'm looking at. So let's say I want to focus on my gross profit percent. That's a big measure that I like to monitor as the VP of sales. So I can come in here to more options, and I can do things like set up data-driven alerts. So if I want to get notified whenever my gross profit maybe falls below 50%, I can come in here and set this logic up pretty easily. So whenever it falls below 50%, I'll get notified at most once an hour. And also I'll choose to send an email as well. So I can really stay on top of my business here by setting up these smart alerts. So the next thing we'll check out, if we'll come back here to more options, we'll choose View Insights. And what that's going to do is run a series of algorithms over our data model and try to find some insights related to this gross profit percent calculation. So you can see here that we have some summary statistics, and also Power BI has gone out and created some visualizations for me based on the insights that it found. So we can scroll through these and see all the different visuals that we can choose to analyze. I actually like one of the first ones here. So sales amount and gross profit percent as outliers for calendar dates 3/13, 6/6, and 7/22. So if I like this, the same thing, I can pin this visual back to my dashboard and use it in my next meeting with my regional managers if I'd like. I can see, without having to know anything about outlier detection or how to create an advanced visualization in Power BI, I can get these insights. So I can see, I had some dates here where I had really high margins, and maybe I want to, talk to my managers, see how we can recreate some of this, or perhaps identify if this is maybe some dirty data. So you'll also notice that we have this quick insights option here, and if we click on that, what that's going to do is it's going to go out and instead of looking at just the gross profit percent, it's going to look at any statistically significant information throughout my entire data model. So this is great because as an analyst, we typically come into an analysis with sort of making educated guesses or having preconceived notions of why things might happen. But machine learning algorithms, they don't care about any of that. They're completely unbiased, and they only care about the data. So it's a great way to maybe find insights that we didn't think about as the analyst coming in. So you can see it's already created these insights. If I click View Insights here, you'll notice that we have some visualizations that were created as well as the insight that it found on the right here. So some of them aren't going to be very useful as you read through them. So there's a correlation between product subgroup and item. Well, obviously we would expect there to be a correlation between those two fields. But this one, gross profit percent for the Northeast region as outliers, is a little bit more interesting to me. So you can see I had some spikes here all the way up to 80% in March, and then had a sharp decline in September. So maybe I want to get with my regional manager for the Northeast and figure out what's causing these peaks and valleys in my margin. So I can go ahead and just pin this as well. So we'll go and put this up on the dashboard. And now the next time I meet with my managers, I know exactly what my talking points will be. All right, so let's go ahead and drill back into a report here. So I'll just click on one of these tiles, and same thing that with the other report, as if I click on a data element and a visualization, you'll see everything's going to update to just show me that. And additionally, we've added something called a report page tooltip. So this is a great way to add more context to your data analysis. So whenever I hover over a data element in my visualization, I can see that it's passing that filter through. So now I'm getting my gross profit versus prior year KPI with some spark lines around quantity trends below that. So that's a pretty neat feature within Power BI. And you'll also notice this Q&A button up here in the top right. So this is really going to introduce that same Q&A technology or natural language query technology, but at the report level. So if I'm going through a report, I can quickly ask a question and get that within a matter of seconds. And also you'll see I have some suggested questions over here. So in addition, if I find something that's useful or that I'd like to, my teammates or colleagues to be able to access as well, I can save that insight and then that way they can access it the next time they come into this report. So if I click on these, you can see a couple saved insights here. And let's say, top 3 isn't really what I'm looking for. I'm actually looking for the bottom 3 product groups because I want to see where we're having issues. So I can just simply type in bottom, and it's going to recalculate this on the fly here, so I quickly get an answer. And so that's how we can use this natural language query and processing that's baked into Power BI. All right, so moving along, we have some different pages of our report here to help tell our story. So you can see I have some customer sales information here. If I click on one of the channels, you notice that we have these visualizations set to highlight instead of filter. So we can really configure the interactivity of our visualizations as much as we would like within Power BI. And we'll keep moving on here. So we have some geographical information. So if I click on a state, you can see Jason Lee. He's doing pretty well for Missouri. Maybe I want to find out some more information, what's going on with him. I can choose to drill through. Same thing to a details tab. And now I can see, from a KPI standpoint, he's doing pretty good. He has some issues for quantities compared to prior year. And one of the neat things we can do now in Power BI is create some automated insights. So if we right click on one of these visuals and choose to analyze, we'll have some different options for automated insights. This one is find where my distribution is different. So what that's going to do is kick off some machine learning algorithms that are going to attempt to explain what filters or data fields cause the distribution of sales amount by channel to change the most. So if we take a look at this first insight, there's a lot of insights that we have access to. If we take a look at this first one, you can see that about 37% of my sales were for Minnesota for Jason, and he's doing about 61% in Missouri. But interestingly, he's for Minnesota, he's doing almost all his sales in retail and none in online. And if we click over here on Missouri, it looks like the opposite is true. He's doing most of his sales with online and not so much for retail. So maybe I want to have a call up Jason or Jason's manager and figure out why he's having success in some geographies with some channels and not having it in other channels. And so that way we can really start to optimize our sales performance here. And if we like these insights, we can help train these machine learning models by maybe we give it a thumbs up, and then that way we're telling Microsoft or Power BI that, hey, this was useful. Continue to provide this type of insight to me, and if I don't like one, I can just hit the thumbs down here. So you can see we have a lot of different insights we can go through here via these automated insight features. All right, so the last one I'll show you here as a consumer, or the VP of sales, if we click over here to profit trends, you'll notice, pretty standard, report here. We have what looks like to be some sort of summary analysis here, bulleted list, and perhaps one of my analysts went out and made these calculations and then wrote this up for me. But actually, you'll notice as I click around, it's going to update this narrative on the fly. So this is actually using natural language generation technology, which is great for just automatically creating narratives about your data analysis. So if I wanted to maybe update this, I can retail, or maybe just for the West, it's going to rewrite my analysis based on what I select in my report. So natural language generation is a very trendy AI tool for being adopted in many businesses in order to cut out repetitive report creation in order to save analyst time. And this is actually a custom visual, which means it's sort of an extension to Power BI's out-of-box visualizations. And this particular one is called Narratives by a company called Narrative Science, in case you're interested in checking that out. All right, so let's now switch gears now to our analyst role. So I'm going to go ahead and just download this report. So what that's going to do is just export this PBIX file, which is how Power BI stores the file extension for Power BI reports. And now what I can do is go ahead and open this in the Power BI desktop. And The Power BI desktop is actually a free tool from Microsoft, so you can go out to powerbi.com and download this today for free and start connecting and exploring your data. And let's say that my VP of sales asked me for some more insights around our sales trends and specifically maybe get some forecasting information. So I could come in here and just do a new page, and I'll rename this to be forecasts. And go ahead and just create a quick little title here by adding a text box, and maybe we'll make it bold and a little bit bigger so we can see it, and then resize it a little bit. All right, so what Microsoft has done is actually created these smart visualizations via the Q&A technology that we looked at before in the Power BI service, but it's now baked into the Power BI desktop. So this is how they envision everyone making their reports. No longer do you have to drag fields to configure your different visuals. It's going to attempt to do that for you. So all we need to do is just double click in here. And now it's going to say, hey, let's ask a question about your data. So maybe we want to see our sales amount by our sales rep. So now we'll see that Power BI has actually created this bar chart, which is perfect. That's how I wanted to represent this data. And I can continue on here by just double clicking. So now maybe I want to add some trend information. So I'll do sales amount by year period, and now you'll see Power BI has gone ahead and added this line chart to my canvas here. So because it's Power BI, I can go ahead and just click around, and it's all interactive, right? So maybe what we want to do next is add some analytical features to this visualization. So what I can do is just come over here to the Analytics tab, and you'll see I have an option to add perhaps a trend line. So we can add a dynamic trend line to our visual. Constants, mins, max, averages, medians, percentiles. So there's a lot of stuff we can work with here. What I'm actually going to do is add a forecast, and without having to know about any sort of detailed forecasting algorithms or how to configure those, I can just simply set a couple parameters here and then apply those and Power BI is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for me. So let's say we want to forecast for maybe a quarter. I'm actually going to put in 6 here, and I'll tell you why in a second. And we're going to forecast months instead of points, so we give a little bit more context to the algorithm. And we're going to ignore the last 3 months, and that's so that we can really do some what's called hindcasting or test how accurate the algorithm is working. So 6 minus 3 is 3 months, so still 1 quarter out. And confidence interval, usually you're going to stick between a 90 and 99% confidence interval depending upon how significant the analysis is to the business. So I'll leave it at 95%. What that's telling me is that 95% of the time the observed data point will fall between the upper and lower bounds here in the forecast. And for the last parameter here, seasonality, there's 12 months in a year. So we'll just go ahead and put in 12 here and then apply. So you can see it stayed within these bounds here, except it really fell off for the last quarter of 2018. The algorithm is only going to be as accurate as the data you provide it. So we only gave it about 2 years of data. So the more data we feed our models, the more they can learn from the data. So again, because this is Power BI, we can start clicking around on our different sales reps, and then we can see the forecast is adjusted just for that particular sales rep. So you can see this one actually was pretty accurate as far as adjusting. It wasn't 100% accurate, but it was pretty accurate as far as guessing whether sales will go up or down and tracking for David. And then we can see our different sales reps here and how they performed. Again, I still can't explain what's going on with this decrease. Maybe we'll add some information around product and see if we can gain some insights there. So I'll double click here again, and this time I'll do sales amount and gross profit percent by product. So you can see Power BI has gone ahead and added a scatter chart for me, which is great. That's actually what I wanted. And if I open this up in focus mode, we can do a couple formatting changes, maybe add some category labels so that we can see what we're looking at. So I can see I have a lot of different products here. Wouldn't it be great if I could just find some different groupings in my products? Well, actually now with these automated machine learning technologies, I can come up here to more options and choose automatically find clusters. And now as the analyst, I don't have to know what K-means clustering algorithms are. I can just come in here and maybe say I want to specify 4 for the number of clusters and choose OK. And it's going to scan my data set and try and find some logical groupings within my different products here. So I can see I have some high sales dollar clusters here. I also have some high margin products up in the purple, some sort of mediocre middle of the road in gray, and then some struggling products down here in blue. So if I come back here to my report, you'll see that this AI or this algorithm actually added a product clusters data field to my model here. And that's pretty cool because now I can leverage this throughout my entire analysis or entire report. So if I just drag that in here and then maybe change the visualization, I can see now how my sales reps are selling by each of these different product groupings. So if we just click on cluster 3 or high sales dollars, you can see Jason Lease obviously outperforming all the rest of the sales reps. And then if we click on cluster 4, we can see maybe some of the other sales reps are doing better for our high margins. So how can we optimize our sales strategies in order to maybe sell some more of these high margin products, which is how we'll ultimately get better gross profit or bottom line. So I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of that legend here and continue on. So again, if we come back here to this main question of why did my sales slump off here for the end of 2018, if I could just come in here and leverage these automated insights again, and this time I'll choose analyze and explain the decrease. And what that's going to do is attempt to explain via automated machine learning what contributed to this 17% decrease in my sales amount between September and October. And the first one that we see here in this list is by customer, and it looks like Sears had a sharp decline in sales for this time period. So maybe I want to get in touch with my account representatives for Sears and figure out what's going on and formulate a strategy to right this ship. So again, if I like this, I can help train the Power BI models by giving it a thumbs up, and I can even come in here and add it to the report. So without having to know how to set up a waterfall or how to create a variance calculation in Power BI, it's gone ahead and automatically done all that for me. And because again, it's Power BI, everything's interactive, and it's just now a part of my report. So I can click around and start to see how all this data is relating to each other as I interact with the report. So I'll come back here and do the same thing. I'll choose analyze and explain the decrease. And this time I'm going to look for maybe some information around geography. It's one thing I don't have on this particular page here in this report. So you can see some stuff around products here and what products were falling off during this period. If I keep scrolling, I can see I have some information around cities. I'm going to look actually for something using my state dimension. So here we go. We have sales amount by year, period, and state. So you can see now that Illinois and South Dakota seem to be states that weren't performing well during this time period and may have led to this decrease in sales. And I actually have the ability to choose which visualization type Power BI uses to visualize this insight. So I actually happen to like this scatter chart. This is a pretty advanced visual. You have to add some symmetry shading and some trend lines to it. And this would be take a while to do if I were trying to do it by myself. But I can just add it to the page, and then now it's part of my report and it's fully interactive. So now I can see that for this time period, Illinois, which is in the red, had a lot higher sales in September, and then when we started to decline, you can see that it went down quite drastically to just 23,000. So if I want to maybe get some more insights into this, I can start building out maybe a drill hierarchy. So that's pretty easy. I just drag and drop the fields underneath each other, and that way I can get some more detailed information into this insight. So if I just let me open it in focus mode. So if I right click on Illinois now and drill down, you'll see it goes to my next level, my hierarchy or the product group, and I can see that appliances seem to have the biggest drop for this time period. So wow, 81 to 5,000. So if I right click on that, I can drill down even further and see that looks like washers seem to be the biggest issue here that I was having. And so that's how we can start, interacting and configuring these automated insights that we're adding to our report here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just drill back up because you can see the drilling is set up to affect all the other visualizations. So once I drill back up here, I'm pretty happy with this report that I've created within a few minutes, and I'm going to get this back to my VP of Sales. So I'm going to choose to publish this, and that's going to basically take this local file and publish it up to the Power BI service where we pulled it down from to begin with. And if I choose over here, my sales workspace, which is really just a shared folder centered around a specific reporting initiative. In this case, sales, and choose select here. And we'll go ahead and publish this up to the environment where my VP of Sales interacts with his content, and that's where his dashboard lives. So I'm going to go ahead and open this, and you'll see it's popped open a new browser window here for me, and I can come and just simply pin this with the same icon that we used before, and pin it to the VP of Sales dashboard, and then go check out and make sure that it all went there, and there it is, and we can just simply drag and drop things and maybe resize it to make it a little bit bigger. So that's sort of the workflow as far as consuming data and using the automated insights at the consumer level, and then pulling it down and creating some new insights using the Power BI desktop tool, and then publishing it back up here for my VP of Sales. All right, so let's go back in here to PowerPoint and continue on. So I showed you Power BI, which is sort of the data exploration and augmented analytics platform from Microsoft. Depending upon your comfortability and your skills within data science, you may want to check out some other machine learning tools. So you also have Azure Machine Learning, which is a cloud-based software as a service or platform. And it's really great for building out some predictive models, and you can choose which algorithms, and you can train your models. And this is all in a low code or no code environment, so it's all driven by a graphical user interface to kind of simplify the development process for machine learning. You can also see Excel is starting to bake in AI and machine learning capabilities so that we can leverage some of these machine learning models right within our Excel spreadsheets, which has the potential to really add a lot of value considering how much data lives in Excel throughout most companies. And then if you're really technical and you want to do some advanced development, SQL Server Data Tools is a great tool to use. You have tools that run the gamut as far as what you're trying to accomplish. So we think of data scientists spending most of their day building algorithms, exploring data, and doing predictive analysis, but this is really not true. According to many reports out there, there's sort of an 80-20 rule around data scientists' time. So they're spending about 80% of their time just collecting data and then cleaning and organizing data so that it's in a state ready for analysis. And this is really where Preferred Strategies in QuickLaunch for JD Edwards can add some value to your analytics initiative. So Preferred Strategies was established in 2002 with focusing on bridging the gap between JD Edwards and the market-leading reporting and BI software systems. And we built the QuickLaunch solution with three main components. So we have a software tailored for JDE that sits on the Microsoft BI stack, and we leverage the best practices and strategies around data analytics and BI. And then finally, we offer professional services to really help maximize the success and help drive the adoption of data analytics within your company. So this is sort of the traditional data science workflow. But as we mentioned before, to truly get the value out of data, you need to know how to properly extract it and relate it and model the data into a state that's ready for analytics. And this is where our QuickLaunch solution really shines, because you already have access to the prepared data, or you have the methodologies to go and tie in new data sources into your JD Edwards data, so you're ready for advanced analytics. So the last little demo we'll do in Power BI, we'll look at how we can connect a tool such as Power BI directly to a JDE transaction system and what that experience is like, and then we'll switch gears and look at how we can use the QuickLaunch solution for JD Edwards to really accelerate this entire process. So I already have a Power BI, a new Power BI desktop file open, and this is the splash screen you'll see when you open one. And if we choose Get Data here, it's going to launch the modern Get Data experience, where we have connections to really hundreds of different data sources. If I choose Database, you'll see SQL Server, Oracle, and DB2, which are the 3 database platforms that JD Edwards runs on. My particular production environment is on SQL Server, so I'll just come in here and enter the name of my server and then choose OK. And now I'll see a list of all the different databases that reside on that server, and I happen to know that my production is JDE production. And so once I expand that, you'll notice that we have all these cryptic table aliases that JD Edwards uses to store information within the transaction system. So here, as the analyst, if I was trying to analyze sales, I would need to have some knowledge of JD Edwards. So I would need to know, like, that the sales order history table is the 42119, and then I can just check this little box here, and that'll bring in that table from the transaction system. And maybe we want to break this out by some item information, so we can grab the item branch table, the 4102 table, and just to choose load here. And what that's going to do is query our transaction system, which is not really a best practice when you have many users hitting large queries against your production system. But just to illustrate what the experience is like, go ahead and do that. And now you'll see we have 2 tables that have been added to this data model. And if we expand the sales order table here, you'll see that all of the columns are all in the cryptic alias names. So I would have to know that my sales amount is actually this SDA EXP, or extended price field. And if I click on that, and maybe we turn it into a card here, we can see that we got $20.43 billion worth of sales. But I, as the analyst, know that we're more of a $20 million company. So this is where I have to come in and figure out things like decimal precision and how to convert Julian dates and so on and so forth. And then if we try and break this out by some item information, we come up here to our item table, and if I search for my item field, IBL, ITM, and we bring that into our visualization, you'll know that you'll see that it's $20.4 billion value is replicated for all of our different rows. So something's going on. It looks like I got a bad join here. So if I come into the relationships view here, you can see the tables that are loaded up, and they actually aren't related at all. So there's no relationship or no join. And this is where I have to have some knowledge about data modeling and how can I create a primary key to start relating this data together. And so you can quickly see I got my work cut out for me, and this is just the beginning or the tip of the iceberg. So let's switch gears now, and we'll open up a new file. And instead of connecting to a SQL Server database, this time we'll connect to a SQL Server Analysis Services database, which is the high performance in-memory analytical database from Microsoft, and that's delivered as part of the QuickLaunch solution for JD Edwards. So I'll come in here to Get Data, and this time I'll choose Analysis Services Database and Connect. And we'll type in our same server name here and choose OK. And now we'll see that we have this BIQL tabular JDE data model, and then we also have many different what's known as perspectives of the data model, and a perspective is really just a subset of the data model that focuses around a particular business area. So we'll choose the sales perspective and then choose OK, and that's going to load all of the dimension tables and fact tables that I would need in order to analyze JD Edwards sales. So if I expand one of these tables here, like the customer, I can hover over the table and see the data lineage back to my my JD Edwards system, which is great because it makes sure I can be ensure that I'm actually looking at the data that I want to be looking at, so it builds trust between the users and the data model. So if we come down here to our fact table or our sales table, you can see I have hundreds of predefined calculations already ready out of the box here. So I have things like gross profit and quantities, and then if I expand my sales amount display folder, you can see I have a lot of business logic already built into this model here. So things like month to date, quarter to date, year to date, prior year values, variances. So if I wanted to recreate that analysis we attempted to do against the raw transaction system, I could just click on sales amount, come up here to my item branch table, and then we could break that out by our different items here, just drag that in, and now we can see exactly what's going on as far as sales by item. And it looks like our curved TVs are doing the best here for item sales. All right, so let's come back over here to PowerPoint and wrap things up. So our QuickLaunch solution, as you saw, is really the foundation for JDE data science and analytics and reporting. Our solution translates the cryptic backend of JD Edwards. So we're renaming tables like the FO101 to be address, and data fields like MCU to be business unit. We're converting Julian dates and doing the decimal precision, and also renaming your UDCs and CAT codes with business-friendly names. So I hope I convinced everybody to go and download Power BI Desktop and start exploring and connecting to your data, as well as considering using the QuickLaunch for JDE solution to really speed up your time to insight or time to value. So that's it for me, and at this time we can open up to any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you so much, David. Can you see my screen okay?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I just want to cover a few follow-up items, and then we'll move into our question and answer portion of our webcast. Thank you so much for that. That was great. And just so everybody knows, as a part of our webcast today is a part of GSI's free ongoing educational webcast series, and our upcoming webcast is currently listed on the screen. And if you'd like to register for any of them, you can go out to our website at getgsi.com. And if you'd like to sign up for our weekly emails on upcoming webcasts or our monthly newsletter, you can go to getgsi.com, go to the bottom of the screen, and then click on the link for each. And I see we've already have several questions submitted online. Oh, I'm sorry. I want to just go over really quick too. We will be at Quest JD Edwards in Focus in Denver, which is coming up upon us quickly. It's next week, and you can go down to this link at the bottom of the screen to get some more information on that. And if you'd like to submit any of your questions, you can do so using the question panel in the GoToWebinar console window on the right of your screen. And if you did minimize your console earlier, please click the left-facing arrow to re-display the panel. Okay, David, I'm going to get going with some of these questions here. We have our first question. It's from Ali, and he says, do you believe people will start off doing citizen data science and eventually get into data scientist later? And how would you be able to differentiate between the two?
Yeah, so I think it's a great, I think citizen data science will sort of open people's eyes to what's possible, and then when you start to push the boundaries or the limitations of the functionality that the out-of-box analytic platforms are providing, and then you're going to start asking more questions about, well, how can I, build a model that I can train and customize to my specific use case, and then that will sort of, I think, be the path that most citizen data scientists will go down, and then you start, really, doing some more research and training on different tools, and I think that's really how people will start getting into more advanced data science. Yeah, I think that, really just what people will push the limitations of what's being baked in, and then eventually they'll want more, and that would be kind of the progression into the data science realm.
Okay, great. And then our next question is from Mark, and he says, what are some of the pros and cons of using data science?
Oh, that's a good question. So I think there's a lot more pros than cons. Some pros would be, it focuses your decisions to be data driven rather than driven by gut feelings or even politics, which is often the case in companies. It also really helps to automate decisions that might be repetitive or financially or mentally taxing to people. It also can offer just improved consistency and accuracy, because a lot of times machines have the ability to just be more accurate when crunching large amounts of data than humans do. And then, it obviously reduces a lot of the time spent on repetitive tasks, like I mentioned before. And then the cons really is, the main con that I see is just, if an algorithm is incorrect and your whole team is using it, then they might build too much trust in this incorrect algorithm, and then start making some decisions that might be incorrect. So you might want, it's important to really go through and make sure that you have an algorithm that you can trust, and then validate the results you're getting, so that that you're not going to go down that path.
Okay, great. We've got another question. And the question is this a multiple part solution, BI platform, analytics package, any other subscription?
So is that referring to the QuickLaunch solution or to Power BI?
It just says BI platform dash analytics package dash any other subscription. Let's see.
So I think, well, I mean, so Power BI this is all just out of the box functionality with the platform. So all the things that I demoed today are just, there's no additional fee. You're not paying anything additional. It's all included in the platform. So you have these automated insights. You have these analytic features built in. As far as our solution, the QuickLaunch solution, it's really just is going to enable you to do all this analytics over JD Edwards, and then again we have the methodologies for you to start tying in other data sources to then utilize all these powerful features that Power BI is coming out with in a timely manner.
Okay, and then I've got another question from Joseph, and he says, how is this different from Hubble?
That's a good question. I've actually never used Hubble. I believe Hubble is, from my understanding, Hubble is more of a enterprise performance management software, which is really doing financial planning and forecasting. This would be more of a enterprise modern data analytics platform that really enables everybody from business users to data scientists to leverage the same platform. So everybody's using the same technology across all business areas, and yeah, I mean, again, I can't really speak to Hubble because I've never used the tool before.
Okay, great, thank you. And one more question we have from Joseph. He says, who builds a data model in Power BI?
Who builds it?
Yes.
Is that the question?
Yep.
Well, so so a data model, I mean, QuickLaunch delivers a data model. So if he means like the machine learning models, the Power BI team, the Microsoft Research Division are the ones that are baking in these these machine learning models into the platform of Power BI. So all the features I showed you, like natural language query, those all stemmed from Microsoft's research division that's pouring in lots of money into AI and machine learning models that they're integrating into Power BI. And then as far as who can build a data model, again, to elaborate on that, it's really going to be IT enabled. So you're going to want to have some sort of data stewards or BI team that kind of ensures that there's one single version of the truth, so that if one person builds a data model in Power BI and they define gross profit, that it's going to be the exact same definition that somebody else that's maybe connecting in Excel is going to see when they use that gross profit calculation. So yeah, so I mean, again, since in this third wave, we're kind of moving away from everybody creating their own data models to more of a IT-enabled approach, where IT is involved in the process in order to make sure there's a single version of the truth.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And we did have one more question pop in, and it's from Kieran, and he says, would it work with the customized JDE installation, and how do I make it work with in-house developed modules?
So the QuickLaunch solution does, we can fully support any custom JDE implementations that you've done. So as part of the implementation process, we'll identify the customizations that you've made, and then build that logic into the QuickLaunch solution, so that you can leverage all of those customized aspects of your JDE environment. And what was the second part of that question, Brooke?
It says, does it work with in-house modules?
I think that's just something we'd have to tackle. So I think we have around over around 15 modules that we support right now with the QuickLaunch solution. And then if we don't have the module that you're looking for, then we can talk about how we can maybe develop that, and what that what that process would look like as far as an implementation timeline. So yeah, I think anything's possible, but I can't speak to exactly what it is without knowing what the customized module is.
Okay, and then another one we have, and Joseph asks, are there built-in data models in Power BI?
No, there's not any built-in data models. So as part of the Power BI experience, you're going to go out and connect to data. So when I connected to the JDE transaction system, that's effectively the beginning of me building a data model. So I brought in some tables, and then I would have to then start relating, creating relationships between those tables, and that's the process of building out a data model within Power BI. And then you saw, as in the second part of that demo, I actually just connected to a data model that's already configured for JDI, which is the QuickLaunch tabular model. And so yeah, there's no out of the box data model that you can just use with Power BI. You have to do some modeling in order to start connecting the data.
Okay, follow-up question from Joseph for that. He asks, is it customizing a data model?
Say that one more time.
He asked if it, just follow up from his previous question, is it customizing a data model then?
So if he's talking about customizing the QuickLaunch solution, yeah, we do all of the knowledge transfer, so that you can start adding your specific business logic into our data model, so that you can customize it in order to get the analytical insights that you're after. So a lot of our a lot of our customers will customize the model to include different tables and bring in outside sources of data that aren't in JD Edwards, and really just start expanding and customizing our data model as they see fit for their particular business needs.
Okay, great. Perfect. Thank you so much. That appears to be the end of our questions. So I just want to thank you, David, so much for all of your insight and your demo and your presentation, and everybody for your questions. And just as a reminder, a follow-up from today's webcast, we ask that you complete a short 1-minute survey when you exit, and you will be receiving an email with a link to our resource center on our website where you can access the recording from today's webcast as well as a copy of the presentation. And after today's webcast, we will do the drawing for the $25 Amazon gift card, and anyone that attended the entire webcast and completes the survey will be eligible, and we will notify the winner. So thank you again, David, and everybody for attending our presentation today, and we hope that you have a great day.
Thank you, Brooke. Have a great week.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.